The show should be called Greedy Fucking Bastards. Hello, 안녕하세요. I'm Chandraj. Welcome to Cinemarea, where we only talk about South Korean movies and dramas. Today, let's talk about the second highest rated drama in Korean television history, Sky Castle, or Sky Castle. Overall, this show is about 5 families who are living in suburban Seoul in a luxurious residential area. The husbands are all successful doctors and professors, and the wives are trying really hard to get their children to the best universities possible. And when I say really hard, I mean really hard, sometimes by any means necessary. The name of the residential area is Sky Castle, hence the name of the show. I had a very rocky start with Sky Castle. The first 4 or 5 episodes felt more like a soap opera, and I hate soap operas. I was like, why should I care all about this? Who cares if a rich, spoiled child gets into a good university or not? And why must I bear all the gossip and chit-chatting and backstabbing that the wives are doing? Where's the story here? By the way, if you're a woman, you love Sky Castle. Women love gossiping and chit-chatting. I, on the other hand, well, I'm a guy, simple-minded, quiet, I hate small talk, I hate listening to small talk, and just overall, I really don't know. But I have to say that the show slowly won me over, and now, having seen the whole thing, I can safely say that it's pretty fantastic. On so many levels. At first I was pretty upset about the lack of story here, but then I realized that Sky Castle actually shows a lot of lives in motion, meanwhile reflecting on the highly competitive nature of Korean society. And just when I started to appreciate that aspect, a story started to emerge, or shall I say, lots of stories started to emerge, and my interest level got higher and higher. Like I mentioned, the show revolves around the lives of 5 families, and the main one is that of a doctor played by Jung Joon-ho, who has also played in Iris, and the main character is his wife played by Yum Jung-ah. She's a professional liar, she comes from a very humble background, so she changed his name, came up with a backstory, and climbed to the top of the hierarchy between the wives. She's hellbent on getting her older daughter into medical university because she thinks that this is the only way for her daughter to be happy. She's also pressured by her husband, her mother-in-law, and even her own daughter. At first I was really disgusted by this, as if getting into a good university means anything, as if status is the be-all end-all, as if having no empathy whatsoever is a virtue, cause trust me, they don't care about anything else but themselves. But that's where the drama comes from later. In order for her daughter to get the best education, she hires a private instructor played by Kim Seo-hyung. She also played in The Wilderness and Mr. Zoo. I like her a lot. But as the education goes on, it seems like she has her own agenda, and apparently her agenda is to tear these families apart by manipulating the children. And then, I'm not gonna tell you. Sky Castle is an incredibly complex show. It's impossible to talk about every aspect of it in a review. But like I said, the first thing I started to appreciate about it was the reflective nature of it. Capitalist societies are inherently competitive, but Korean society is even more like that. Here it's taken to the extremes. The main character is willing to do anything in order to make her daughter successful. And the other families are also like that. At least at first. Sky Castle raises some very important questions about how we live our lives nowadays. What are the things that are important to us, and what are the things that actually really matter? Do you want to have a successful child or a happy child? Do you want to live a happy life or a successful life? Because the two don't always go hand in hand. It also shows that just because you're rich doesn't mean you're devoid of problems. As the show goes on, we get to know that almost everyone has huge skeletons in their closet, yet they're trying to show that everything is hunky-dory. Aren't we all like that? It's pretty sad, actually. The cracks actually start to appear at the end of the first episode when one of the residents commits suicide. That comes out of nowhere. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But after that, for quite a long time, no one seems to care about it until a new family moves into the empty home. And for quite a while, they seem to be the only sane family out of the bunch. They're a breath of fresh air. The wife in the new family is played by Tae-ran, and she's a total opposite of the other wives. She's loving, caring, empathetic, and she starts investigating the reason behind the suicide. And the reasons behind it are much more deeper and more complex than you might think. And that's when the show gets really interesting. If you look up Sky Castle on the net, you'll find that it's put into the comedy drama category, but it's absolutely not a comedy. It's a heavy drama with some hilariously funny moments. And we need those funny moments because the show gets darker and darker, so it's such a relief to laugh out loud at some of the comedic bits. And those bits are so funny. The humor is sort of satirical, exaggerated, but it works really well. But overall, Sky Castle is definitely a drama that almost turns into a thriller by the 14th episode. At the end of that episode, someone dies a horrific death, and it also comes out of nowhere, and it's pretty shocking and devastating. And after that, no sunshine and rainbows here. Characters are breaking hard, families are falling apart, and you're just wondering whether there's a way out of this mess. And it's done so well. It's so interesting, exciting, intriguing. It gets pretty addictive, honestly. I couldn't wait to watch the next episode. And the next. And the next. Also, visually, Sky Castle is phenomenal. Some of the tracking shots and the framing are masterful, but even when the cinematography is not exceptional, it's still pretty good. The homes the residents are living in are beautiful, of course. The interiors are mind-blowing. The set designs are fantastic. It's such a joy to watch Sky Castle from a visual point of view. It probably goes without saying that the acting here is phenomenal. My favorite overall was probably Jung Joon-ho, the husband of the main character. He had the most satisfying character arc. In the beginning, his role isn't that significant, plus he's also a greedy, opportunistic bastard. But the events are eventually break him emotionally, and in the last few episodes, Jung Joon-ho gives us a masterclass in acting. I really liked him in Iris also, but what he does here in the last few episodes is beyond words. He was incredible. Another favorite of mine was the head of another family played by Kim Byung-chul. I loved him in Mr. Sunshine. He was such a warm-hearted character there. Here, he's playing a hard-headed professor who constantly pressures his twin sons to study under draconian circumstances. He's the kind of guy who can do no wrong, and his truth is the only truth. He's unwilling to listen to anyone. He's unwilling to improve himself. I hated his character, but Kim Byung-chul was fantastic, especially in the last few episodes. The second half of Sky Castle is fucking amazing. The show also had a secret weapon who was the wife of Kim Byung-chul's character played by Yoon Se-ah. At first glance she didn't seem any different from the other wives, but she proves us wrong during the course of the show. After a while I just wanted to hug her. She was so lovable, morally and mentally strong, thoughtful, caring. She was definitely a ray of sunshine here. And of course Yum Jung-ah as the main character. Holy crap, that woman can act. Words cannot describe how amazing she was. But her character is also a problem. But that's not the actress's fault. Why is she a problem? See, she's the main character of the show. And we learn early on that she lies about her past, she's manipulating the other wives, she's basically manipulating everybody. And as the show goes on and the private instructor is getting more and more suspicious, she still only cares about the stupid university, regardless of the tragic things that are happening around her and to her. Even her daughter is in danger, at least from a mental point of view, and she doesn't seem to care. She's a hateful bitch. And she's not someone you love to hate, you just hate her. I couldn't connect to her because whenever she showed any signs of humanity, her next action erased the whole thing. And when you cannot connect to the main character, you've got a problem. Yes, Yum Jung-ah was amazing, but the lack of character development on her part made it really hard for me. I cared more about the side characters, but her, I just wanted to see her fail. That's no good. Plus, at the beginning, we're immediately introduced to 4 of the 5 families, so we meet a lot of characters, and it's really hard to get used to them. It takes a lot of time. And also, I saw a lot of greed, opportunism, hate, resentment, backstabbing, and selfishness in Sky Castle. You know what I didn't see? Loving their children, caring their children, nurturing their children in the right way, listening to them, working as an actual family. Most of the wives and husbands are sleeping in separate beds. What the fuck? I never heard anyone say, "I love you, honey," or anything like that. Eventually, yes, as it turns out, some of the characters are actually great people, but it takes a lot of time to get there, you know? And yeah, I know that this is how things are going in real life also, but it was painful. And also, Kim Dong-hee is merely a side character here. I loved him in Extracurricular and also in Itaewon Class. I wanted to see more of him. And like I mentioned, the first 4 or 5 episodes are pretty hard to watch, unless you're obsessed about your child's education. Or if you love listening to women gossiping, which I don't. So Sky Castle has problems, absolutely, but as the 20th episode fades, I guarantee you're gonna miss the show. And the music is so fitting, especially the main theme sang by a singer called Ha Jin. It plays at the end of each episode and it's so fitting. The first line of the song is "We All Lie," and it sums up the whole show. I put a link in the description, go check that song out, it's such a great song. I'm gonna give Sky Castle 80%. It's a great drama that shows a lot of life's emotion that are interconnected by some tragic events. It raises a lot of important questions, sometimes it's incredibly funny, but it also breaks your heart. It's definitely worth watching. Jeez, that was a long review. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please recommend me more dramas. I'm open to anything except for romantic dramas, although if you know some that are really awesome, you can also recommend me those. Please like and subscribe, and see you all very soon. Bye!